I never thought I'd see this room again. I didn't know how much home really meant. I can't believe that they actually left the stupid computer here. You'd think while I was gone they could have updated, at least gotten a Mac. Wow. How many years has it been since that little boy? So trusting, innocent, unaware of really what the world held. And look at that picture. Oh, man. Family is, well, I don't think there's any other word to describe it. Yeah, it's an outfit my mother made. Bell bottoms and stripes. Okay. And clearly this was the 70s. And I remember when that picture was taken right there. We had just won the championship in baseball. 13-0. Not bad for a bunch of fifth graders. I played second base. I wasn't very good, but I played second base. I know you think that season I struck out 3 times. And for the first time in my life, I hit a triple. I wasn't quite strong enough to get it over the fence, but I hit a triple. I remember that day. It was a significant day because my dad was at that game. Dad didn't come to very many games. He was really busy, had a lot of things that he had to do and things that were connected to work, and he just wasn't available. And I understood all that, but there was something about that day that just, I don't know, maybe I had just a little bit extra energy or maybe a little more strength. And for the first time, they threw somebody out at second and I got the guy out and I hit a triple. It was a great day. Afterwards, Dad told me how proud he was of me. I didn't hear those words that often. Very few, just a couple of us in the family that my brother and I, and we had a lot of fun, a lot of good things we did. Got into a lot of trouble, but that's to be expected when you've got a house full of boys. Ira was something else. Christmas. Now that was probably what I remember most, is Christmas. Just kind of smell even now I can even smell the cookies that are baking. Every year we'd light that Advent wreath. I didn't understand what it was all about, but we'd light it anyway, and we'd hang our stockings by the chimney with care, and Santa Claus came every year, never failed. There were a lot of years I deserved to get something other than presents, but oh wow, Santa was good. How long has it been? How long has it been? Seems just like yesterday that I stood right there and Dad and I had words. I don't want to remember that right now, but my high school yearbook, oh shoot. I counted it. I was in here 37 times. I know, more than anybody else. It was awesome. You know, that year was it was an awesome year. And yep, there I am, right there. Yep, I'm in the choir. Yeah, my brother called me kind of a songbird, but you know what? I liked it. It was a lot of fun. We had a blast, and oh, where's Charlie? Now that was I wonder if I can remember it. That was a musical I was in. I played Brassett. He was a gentleman's gentleman to Mr. Charlie Wickham and Jack Chesney. It was really a cool part. What was that song? Oh, that's right. I caught you, sir, having a look at her as she went strolling by. Now didn't your heart go boom, 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 boom? Now didn't you sigh? A sigh. I warn you, sir, don't ever dream of her. Just bid such thoughts be gone, or it'll be boom, 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 boom. Oh, wow. I still remember it, or at least most of it. And high school was great when I went to class. And all the relationships that were there. What did they write? Shan had a great time Friday nights. What did we do Friday nights? I don't even remember. Shan, you are so hot. Well, of course, I know. Here's my number, 555-8989. Marie? Who was she? One relationship, though. If I could go back, there's just one relationship I probably would, if I could, I would never have even started. Jimmy was, I thought, just a great friend. And like any other guys, we enjoyed just hanging out and doing various things. And in fact, my dad, being a preacher, we were in church a lot, and so I would invite Jimmy to church, and he'd come, and we enjoyed a lot of great things. But there was one day, fourth period, I had Jim. Jimmy was also in gym, and he tapped me on the shoulder. He said, "Hey, let's skip today." I was like, "Why?" He said, "Got something I want to do." It's all right. So we slipped out as people were changing clothes, and I knew that Coach Johnson wasn't really kind of with it and watching class very well. So we bolted out the door, and we were off the school property just like that. The whole time I had no idea what we were headed into, but it was exhilarating, it was exciting, it was fun, and so we were headed out, and so I thought, well, whatever it's going to be a blast. Maybe we're just going to grab some pizza or something. But got off campus, went down Willowwood Lane and house 307. Knocked on the door. That's where Frank was, and Bill. We went on in, and room much like this, actually. And that's where it happened for the first time. It's where I took my first hit. And it's where I drank my first beer. And it's where I shot cocaine for the first time, too. Although it wouldn't be that day. It would be later. I'd snort that stuff much later. But it all started with that relationship. Why didn't I see it coming? If I could change one thing, it would have been that one. Because from that moment forward, things began to happen in my home and happen in my relationship with mom and dad that, I brought so much hell into this home. I brought so much chaos into this home that I went from being dad's favorite and mom's favorite, or, at least I thought, but I went from being all of that to being the absolute horror that they didn't want. I was that kid no parent wanted. I was that kid no parent wanted their kid to play around with. I remember the first time that mom realized that I had gotten into her purse and stolen some money. I was sitting in my room, playing a little Xbox, and Dad came in. Shan, where's the money? Dad, I don't know what you're talking about. No, Shan, where's the money? I've already talked to Ira, and I know he didn't take it. Well, of course you talked to Ira. I know you don't. You think he would never do anything wrong. You always accuse me. You always think I do the worst things. I was pretty good about hiding the stuff I did. I mean, nobody really knew. I mean, come on, I'm the preacher's kid. I know what you're thinking. You're probably thinking preacher's kids, they're the worst ones out there. We are. Absolutely. We're dirty, filthy, rotten, broken sinners, just like everybody else. Lying became, I became a master at that. I could turn a tale into something that was believable, that it was absolutely, I was a politician. Come on now. I could spin a yarn that everyone would just know was true, and it was flat out lies. I was masterful at that. In fact, I kind of prided myself on it, to be honest. Didn't stop with the $20 I stole from mom's purse. Went to Ira's room once, and there were some things. I was pretty clever about it, and I pulled some things out, and I stole things, and I, went and pawned them, and found that mom and dad's, both of them had a debit card, and slowly I would kind of go and take some money out of their account, and it didn't end there, though. Mr. Fritz lived next door, and there were some things at his home I thought I would just kind of help myself to. I figured, you know what? He's old. He doesn't need it, so I'll take it. I can use the money. I became one of those people that, stole things. I was a thief. Do you know what all I put in this backpack? I'd go to gym class, and you know what happens at gym class? I mean, while people get dressed, they tend to take their cell phones and they lay them down, right? And they put them in that locker, and if they don't have a lock, oh well, it's free game, right? I think I had about 10, 12 different phones at some one point in time, and I sold them, got some money for it. Anytime my folks asked me where I found, if they saw something that didn't belong to me, anytime they asked me, you know what I'd tell them? I found it in a field. They began to call it the magic field. They wanted me to show them where it was, but I really couldn't. It was just a field. Yeah. My parents had to be the most ridiculous parents in the world. You know the type. They're the ones that say, curfew is at 11. I want to know where you are and who you're hanging out with. I want to know who your best friend is and how you spend time with them. And by the way, no drinking, no drugs, no smoking, and no sex before marriage. Can you believe my parents were that square? I mean, they have to be the most odd. None of my friends did their parents ever say these kind of things to them. Not one of them ever told my friend, hey, listen, at midnight you need to be home. No. My friends all could stay out all night long on Friday. I mean, my parents were so weird. Anybody like that? I mean, Who in this world is like that anymore? I remember almost every time I'd walk out, okay, Sean, I want to know, where are you going? What do you mean where I'm going? I'm going out. Well, what are you going to do? Well, I'm going to hang out. So what does that mean, hang out? I'm going to go and hang out with my friends. Oh, okay, Sean, I understand that. But exactly what does hang out with your friends mean? Well, we're going to go and play Xbox, and we might go and watch a movie, and so, just hang out. We're just going to do stuff, spend some time together. Come on, you old fogey, don't you understand those things? We're going to hang out. Reality, I knew exactly what we were going to do, and so, I knew that we were going to go and we were going to party. I knew that there was this party down the street that we were going to hit, and I know that there was going to be drugs. I know there was going to be alcohol, and man, were there going to be girls. Some sweet mamas there, I'm telling you. And when someone as fine as this, it was okay. I was looking forward to it. But I wasn't going to tell my folks that. Nah, we're just going to go hang out, Mom, Dad. It's okay. $11:30, 12 o'clock. 1 a.m. rolls, and I decide I'm going home. I'm already, late. And I come in, and I'll never forget Dad sitting in the living room. The lights were off. And I walked in very quietly, Mocha, be quiet. Shh, close the door, Walked in. What? Do you know what time it is? Oh, Dad, I am so sorry. What happened was that we had a water buffalo that hit the car, and we had the engine just wouldn't run anymore, and we were 30 miles away, and so I had to walk the whole way, Dad. Really? A water buffalo, huh? Yeah, it was a big thing. It made a huge mess. Where were you, Sean? Dad, I'm telling you, I was in a car, and we were driving down the road, and this big water buffalo thing comes running out the road, and smack. Well, let me see the damage. It wasn't my car, Dad. I mean, it was Frank's car, and so it was kind of ruined. And really, okay, all right. So why didn't you call? I'm sorry. Why didn't I what? Why didn't you call? Well, what do you mean, why didn't I call? I mean, well, you would plan to come home. You're going to be home at 11 o'clock because that's curfew, and you know that you're supposed to call if you're going to be late, and so why didn't you call? Battery died in my phone. It died, and so I couldn't use the phone. Well, what about your friends' phones? Dad, they don't have phones. Really? Yeah, they don't have phones. And my phone died, Dad. I'm telling you, that's what happened. And why don't you believe me? Well, quite honestly, because, you tell me this all the time. Dad, come on now. Why don't you freaking believe me? You always think the worst of me. You always think that I lie. You always think these things. Don't you realize none of my friends have to put up with this crap? Why do I have to put up with this kind of crap? Why is it that I have to be home at a certain time? Why is it that I have to call home and tell you what I'm doing? I am 17 years old. I can do anything I darn well want to do, Dad. Not my home. And if you want to live that way, that's fine. There's the door. Just want to take and throw things. That's all I wanted to do at that moment. If that was a daily thing. Even when I think about it now, it just makes me mad. What is with my parents? Don't they understand that what they're doing is they are creating my world so small that I can't grow? Don't they understand that they are so restrictive that it's suffocating me? Don't they understand that it makes me strange and weird when everybody else is able to do whatever the heck they want to do? Oh. Forgot about my Bible. Haven't seen this in years. Oh, there's a note. Shan, when you're ready, read these verses. Know that your mother and I love you more than you'll ever know. Dad. I wonder how long this has been in here. John 3:16. Well, great, it's open to it. Okay. For God so loved the world that he gave his one and only Son, that whoever believes in him should not perish but have eternal life. Romans 5:8. Is there a table of contents? Okay. Page 992. Okay. Romans, oh, there it is. Romans what? 5:8. Okay. But God demonstrates his own love for us in this. While we were still sinners, Christ died for us. What was that other verse? Romans 1:28. Furthermore, since they did not think it worthwhile to retain the knowledge of God, he gave them over to a depraved mind to do what ought not to be done. They have become filled with every kind of wickedness, evil, greed, depravity. They're full of envy, murder, strife, deceit, malice. They're gossips, slanderers, God-haters, insolent, arrogant, boastful. They invent ways of doing evil. They disobey their parents. Hold up. This is my life. They're senseless, faithless, heartless, ruthless. Although they know God's righteous decree that those who do such things deserve death, they not only continue to do these very things, but also approve of those who practice them. Wow. Romans 10. All right, well, I guess Dad liked Romans. Romans 10, 9 and 10. That if you confess with your mouth Jesus is Lord, and believe in your heart that God raised him from the dead, you will be saved. For it is with your heart that you believe and are justified, and it is with your mouth that you confess and are saved. Wow. I wish I'd seen this before. I wish I had read these things before. It was October 26th. I'll never forget that day. We'd had one of those arguments. You see the hole in the wall there? Yeah, that's the one I did. I was so angry. I made my mind up. That was it. I'd had enough. I was done. I had already swiped a few bucks out of Mom's purse. I had taken the credit card, and I had already taken an early withdrawal of some things. I had some money set aside now. I had some things I was going to, various things that I owned and some stuff that I had stolen that I was going to go and I was going to sell, and I was out. I was done. I had had it up to here with all of my parents' crap. I remember standing right here. Dad came in to confront me on something. He'd found something. I mean, everywhere in this room are things where you can hide drugs. Come on. And he'd found some of the stuff. And I looked him in the eye and I said, Dad, I'm done. You're not going to treat me like a little kid anymore. I wish you were dead. I hate you. I remember my dad standing there and saying, Shan, I love you. Those words just made me that much more angry. And all I could say was, Dad, I absolutely detest you. I wish that you and Mom were dead. I am out of here. If I'm going to live in this home, then there are things that you're going to have to change in order for me to live here. And Dad's response was, no, if you're going to live here, then you've got to change. I remember grabbing a bag like this one, throwing it on my shoulder and bolting out the door, and Dad walking after me. It was raining. I was just so pissed off. Dad called my name, Shan, and I looked back, and I'll never forget those words. Dad, go to hell! I don't want anything to do with you or your God or Mom or anything else. Just freaking go to hell. I'm done with you. And I bolted. And my dad yelled out at the top of his lungs, I love you, son. I'll always love you, son. But I was free. I was free of God. I was free of my parents. I was free of the rules. And so I had my whole life in front of me. Everything was ready. Everything was set. I knew where I was going. I knew what I was going to do. And I had a place already in mind. And I went about 200 miles away. Jimmy and I hung out. I had a place all set. We started out in a little cabin that he had and I had, and it was, we were able to kind of use, and it was really awesome. Talk about a chick magnet. It was awesome. Every night was another party. Every day was another game. Every opportunity that was there. There was absolutely nothing that we denied ourselves of. We drank of life until it was down to the dregs. We drank it all. It was gone. We sucked the marrow out of life. It was fantastic. The highs were high and there was never a low. At least I don't remember any lows. There was a period of about 2 months that I really don't remember. I think it was June to August. Things had been tracking really well for about 2 years, and we'd moved from the cabin and we bought an apartment in town, and man, it was great. Investments that I had made, quote unquote, little business I had on the side, you know what I'm talking about? I had, 6 high schoolers that were working for me. Supply and demand. I knew where to get it. They'd sell it. Not just the high schoolers, though. Middle schoolers. No money in my pockets. No place to live. It was the corner of 5th and Broad Street. There's a little place called the Rescue Mission. They have this deal that if you go, you can get some food there. And so I'd go periodically when I was really hungry, and I'd get food there. But you had to sit and listen to them preach. And so I'd sit. Come on, I grew up in a preacher's home. I'd done this. And so I sat and I listened, and it was all right. I'd fill my belly, and then I'd go back out on the street. And I was actually not far from that Walmart, and I heard a family talking. You know how families are. You know when it's a good place, a good situation, there's a lot of laughter, and it was a family of 4. I can still hear their voices. A couple of brothers interacting with one another and just having a ball, and their dad was right in the mix of it, and he was teasing with them and picking with them, and all the time irritating their mom. It was great. And he's like, Walter, would you stop? And you're going to embarrass all of us. It was great. Oh, man, I listened to him and I watched him for a little while. Maybe that sounds like a stalker, but there was something about them that it reminded me of home. I watched that mom just reach over and embrace her sons. And then I watched that dad lay one on her. And I thought, man, how long has it been? I wondered, are mom and dad okay? And so that night, there at 5th and Broad, I finally found true satisfaction. I sat and I talked with that guy and I said, listen, I have been a horrible person. And for the first time in my life, I think what you're saying is true. Do you think God can forgive me? And he shared, yeah. And so I prayed that night. My life was changed in that moment. And then I thought, do you think I could go home? So I got up and I began that long journey. I had it all planned out, what I was going to say, because I figured that all I wanted was just to go and say, Dad, Mom, look, I'm sorry. Let me just stay a night, maybe 2, and then I'll be out of your hair, but here are the things I've done wrong, and would you please forgive me? I had the speech all prepared. I knew what I wanted to retract. I wanted to retract all of those things. No, I didn't really mean that when I said that. I didn't mean, I didn't mean any of that. It was all planned out. I had 150 miles that I was coming home, and so I was able to get a ride. That guy actually gave me bus fare to get home. And it was 15 miles from the bus station home. And so I walked it. My dad's not the most athletic person. He works his thumbs out really well, watching television at times. He's mechanical and everything, and he's more engineer in his mindset, but I know that when he was in college that he played basketball, and so I know that he was athletic, but I've never seen it. I've only ever seen him really in a suit and tie, hair perfectly combed, or is it crafted? I'm not sure. I don't know how he knew. But I was probably a mile from home. And our house is down this long road. And I just came walking home. I couldn't lift my head up because, in all honesty, I was just ashamed. And I came walking home. I remember looking up and I saw way down towards, I felt love and acceptance. I know that I stunk. I know that I reeked of all of what I had been through, but he didn't care. And so I finally pushed away, and we actually, in pushing away, I kind of fell back, and he picked me back up, and I just said, Dad, I am so sorry. He took his coat off, his coat, and he put it on me. He said, I know you're cold. I know you're tired, but I want you to know that you're still my son. The things you've done, they're in the past. he pulled out of his pocket a ring. You know, this ring is really cool. I don't think I'll ever forget these words Dad said. My dear son, Shan, we must celebrate. For you were once dead, but we know you're alive. You were so lost, but you've been found. We have to celebrate because you've come home. In all of that time, I didn't